Guys, welcome back to the Rack and Rock Chronicles YouTube channel, and we are so apologetic for not having many videos up throughout the summer. We had a lot going on, a lot of filming, a lot of family stuff, and of course, work always gets in the way. But I am back here today to do a video on a new product that came out this year. So if you remember back to last hunting season, I was shooting an Xpedition X30. Fell in love with the Xpedition brand at ATA in 2019. Got the had the ability to shoot the MX15 all last season, and that bow was phenomenal. Earlier in 2021, the end of 2020, going into 21, with everything else that was going on in the world, Xpedition was one of the only companies that announced a new bow lineup. And announced it well ahead of when ATA should have been. So they were treating it like a normal year, hoping, obviously everybody hoped that ATA was going to happen, and we were this close. And of course with the pandemic, that got shut down for 2021. So they still released and launched a brand new bow lineup. I needed to know more, so I started researching the new lineup, watching some of the other reviews from some other YouTubers. And I know a bunch of other shows who also work with Xpedition, and I started calling some of them to see if any of them had gotten one of the new bows. Nobody had anything yet, but knowing the design, the idea, everything that went into the MX15 and the new X series bows that they launched, I knew it had to be something that I needed to get my hands on. So after a little time and effort, obviously the way that the industry is working right now with everything going on, there's parts that are being delayed, things that are being delayed. So I kind of expected a little bit of a wait. The wait was a little bit longer. It's currently August, and this is no fault whatsoever of Xpedition. I want to put that out there first and foremost. This was not something that they can control. So originally I had ordered an X33 bow. And unfortunately, because time kept going, waiting for parts on their end from some of their partners that build pieces and manufacture things for them, the X33 would not have been here in time for archery season. And because I have a draw-in for an elk tag here in Pennsylvania for archery season, which will start in September, I couldn't kind of chance waiting any longer. So after speaking with the awesome folks over at Xpedition and Xpedition Enterprises, they were able to get me an X30 out. Literally, I received this bow 3 days after I talked to them. So they had X30 risers in stock, and basically built the exact same bow that I wanted in an X33, but in an X30. So I lost just a tad bit of axle to axle distance, a little bit shorter brace height, but nonetheless, this bow right here is awesome. So again, shooting the MX15, I have bad shoulders. I knew going in that I needed to kind of be in that 60-pound area. That bow cranked down to 60 pounds in the MX15. I had no problem shooting with a bad shoulder. There is no other bow at 60 pounds that I can draw back. I've been through Elites. I actually used to work with them. I've been through Matthews. I don't shoot a Matthews, never will shoot a Matthews. No offense to you Matthews shooters out there, just not my style. After shooting an MX15 at 60 pounds, the bow I ordered for this year, I actually bumped up to 65. Forgetting after we had to make the switch that this was a shorter brace height bow, I was extremely nervous when I got it because I'm like, at 65 pounds, that shorter brace height, I don't think I can drop back. I can't drop back fully turned down, but I only had to come off one turn. One turn, which is a 3-pound increment. So it went from 65 to 62, and I can draw this X30 with the shorter brace height. The biggest thing about the X series bow is what the actual riser is made out of. It's their proprietary design called Xloy. And let me explain to you how light this bow is. Even with my quiver on here, I just literally had this all straightened out today because I'm a decent bow tech to an extent. There are certain things I want the experts to figure out when it comes to certain things. So my Viper sight, which came, literally I unbolted this from my MX15 and put it onto this X30. I wanted this sight to be as close to the markings I already had on it without having to put new tape on, resight 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Didn't want to have to do all of that. So the good folks down at Lonesome Road, who you've heard us talk about before, I took it down there, told Kevin and Jason, said, listen, I want my bow to be almost as close as you can possibly get. I don't mind if I got to scribble a little line out, but I don't want to have to put new tape on here. Well, I don't know if you can see this in this camera, but my 20-yard pin is exactly where my 20-yard tape was marked. So right now this thing, I just got to make some little bit of tweaks. I'm waiting for my Eastern arrows to come in. But with this quiver on, with my quiver on, this bow still weighs less than my MX15. I picked up a bow while I was down there just for comparison. Night and day. Night and day difference. So this is in the Molten Black. Last year the MX that I had was in the ODGreen. I actually liked the black. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. They didn't have a green riser available to get me a bow here in time. Again, this is not an issue on Xpedition. This is me kind of getting to the point where my season's about to start here and I needed to make sure I had a bow. So I went with what they had available to me just so the bow can get here. One thing they did do is get me the strings that I asked for, which is their fluorescent purple with the lava red D-loop that was put on down at Lonesome Road. But basically everything I peeled off the MX15 is here with the exception of my stabilizer, because I am going to be running a new Tacticam mount this year after the issue I had with filming in Illinois last year when I double tapped my record button on my camera. Wanted to make sure I had the availability for a backup. So I will be running the Tacticam stabilizer brace to hold the camera. But guys, this bow has their new lever cam, adjustable draw stops. You don't need a bow press to do it. You don't need a bow press to change your draw length. This is currently set up at 28.5 because this way I can shoot both a wrist released and my thumb release and not have an issue. The only downfall I saw, because I am a taller shooter, I'm 6'2", because of the speed beads that are on the string, you don't have a whole lot of room for peep movement, up or down. Thankfully, it worked out perfectly. I mean, the serving for the peep is right at the bottom of the serving for these beads. So it wasn't a huge issue. But if it was a shooter that's a little bit taller than me and you needed to move that, you would have a little bit of an issue. So aside from when it came in, it comes in with the knock bead. It has the speed beads already on it. They did change their cable system this year on this bow, which I actually like a whole lot better. Shootability, draw ability is phenomenal. So I'm gonna draw this back. I don't have my release, so I'm just gonna finger draw it. But there's the let off. We did adjust the cam stops, but you can see, I mean, I barely am holding on to this and it's not going down. So you kind of gotta give it a little bit. This bow is 350 to 353 IBO. Obviously at the poundage and arrow selections they use, but regardless, they just make a killer bow. So if you're looking for a light bow, a very shootable bow with good speed, I'm not a speed demon. I'm not, it doesn't have to shoot, 7,000 feet per second to kill a deer. So these guys make great IBO speed bows for hunters. They do this bow in the X30, which is what I'm holding in my hand. They have the X33, the X37. So again, that's axle to axle sizes, and it's a little bit short. So like the 33 is like 32 and change. This one is 29 and change. But I was really nervous because of the difference in brace height with the shorter bow, but works perfectly, no issues. Doesn't hurt my shoulder, and they have perfect setup. So if you're going to shoot a back bar, they do have a stabilizer screw right here. Obviously on the front, my wrist sling isn't on there yet because I don't have my Tacticam brace yet. But definitely, guys, if you haven't checked out an Xpedition bow, go to their website, click their dealer map, find a dealer near you. If not, you can call and order direct. To my knowledge, anyway. Don't take that 100% because I'm not sure. But find a dealer that's local to you and go shoot one. You're gonna fall in love with it. You know, I know a lot of guys. They're all dead set on, you know, Matthews, Hoyt, and, you know, years ago maybe. But I've never owned a Matthews bow. I don't know if I've actually even hunted with one before. I've never owned a Hoyt. I've always been the up and coming companies type of guy, and I found my new home with Xpedition. This bow is just phenomenal. I can't wait to hunt with it this year. And if you remember, I think I talked about it actually in one of our episodes on the show. When we were in Illinois, my bow actually fell out of my tree. Everything was good, nothing happened to it, and I ended up killing Wiley with it the day after it fell out of the tree. So no issues. Some guys will complain with certain rests. Now I'm shooting a Q80 Ultra, but because of where their cable bar is, certain sights you kind of have to play with them a little bit to get them to fit. So I know the MX15, we had to make some adjustments back to normal per se on this when I put it on the X30, because we had to have it adjusted to fit underneath the old cable bar off the MX15. So other than that, it fits great. Center shot's good, plenty of clearance, and again, it's going to come down to the shooter because the sight has to move, you know, to be lined up with everything. So you can see mine's dropped pretty far from, you know, where it normally would be, but that was all adjustments so that I would not have to remark or put new tape on this bow, and I couldn't be more ecstatic about that. So we'll be shooting here. I'll be dialing into 60 again. So again, I may have to make some tiny little adjustments, but that's why I use this type of sight. It's a single pin. You know, you could pretty much, it could be a target sight if you wanted it to be, but I use it for hunting. I like the single pin. I don't like the multi-pin. But this bow, speed-wise so far, you know, I probably have about, I don't know, 50 or 60 shots through it. Not a single issue. Obviously, as things break in, I may have to, you know, adjust something, but other than that, I am super looking forward to hunting with this bow this year, and hopefully starting with elk here in Pennsylvania. So we'll find out about that in a few weeks. But guys, check them out. Xpedition Archery, X30. You will not be sorry. Find a local dealer, call them up. As far as I know, X33s are very shortly coming. They were just waiting for some parts, and I'm not in any form of upset by going to the X30. It surprised me when I got this bow, and I think because it's a little bit smaller, it's even a little bit more or a little bit lighter than I thought it was going to be. But this X-Loy is awesome, and the bow is super quiet, and without having any of my stabilizers on there, I know it can change, but shooting it just the way I shot it today, it is super quiet. And you'll see videos coming up here as I'm, getting the final dial in down. I'm kind of waiting for my new arrows. I'm hoping those get here in time. If not, I'll shoot with what I currently have from last year, which is the 5mm full metal jacket. I'm hoping the new 4mm get here soon. So, Xpedition Archery guys, check them out. Check out their Facebook page. We've tagged them in a bunch of photos, both on Instagram and Facebook. So, check them out. You won't be sorry. And become part of the Xpedition Nation. Alright, we'll see you guys later.